deck, a very clean answer to Desecration Demon and Pack Rat, two of the most problematic cards from Mono Blue Devotion. Additionally, you get a Afara as another source of card advantage. If the game goes long, you can also easily get the Devotion online as well.
We'll cut into this game here. You see Blue-White Devotion on the right for Werner. He's got a Tidebinder Mage and a Frostmourne Weird in the graveyard, but what he does have in play is a Frostmourne Weird, a Temple of Enlightenment, an Island, and a Mutavault, and obviously a couple of cards in hand as we're just joining this one pretty early. On Braverman's side, his Black-White mid-range deck, he's got a Pack Rat, which is obviously very threatening. There's a Temple of Silence, as well as a Mutavault and a Swamp there. You see Werner's going to fire up his Mutavault, come in with that, and a Frostmourne Weird Pack Rat with no really good blocks. Take some damage, pass it over back to Braverman.
And this is one of the biggest differences between Blue-White Devotion and Mono Blue, even though Blue-White Devotion has receded in popularity. This is a board state for your classic Mono Blue Devotion deck that is almost assuredly a loss. Pack Rat's in play, there's a bunch of Mutavaults, life totals are fairly high. But with Detention Sphere in the deck, it really contorts the way that Michael has to play this matchup. He cannot exclusively lean on Pack Rat, or if he does, he's incurring a huge risk.
Looks like he may lead things off here with a Thoughtseize. So step one here for Braverman is a Thoughtseize. Negate is going to counter that. So Werner obviously wants to protect something over there. And the card he may want to protect is Detention Sphere. We'll see. Braverman going to play a Mutavault. We'll see if he's going to leave this up for Pack Rat activations, if there will be any attacks or what have you. Looks like Braverman is on the defensive here, though.
Yeah, I think Braverman would ideally like to play this game in such a way that he's making some number of rats and he's advancing his board that way. And if Werner doesn't have Detention Sphere, then that's great. He can just carry the game that way. But if something goes awry, he has enough tools left over in his hand that he can move on to a secondary plan.
You do see that Werner does have a Detention Sphere in his hand, so that's what the Negate was protecting. A lot of options here for Nicholas, and he just says, you know what? Let's just Detention Sphere this now. Let's just get this out of the way. That Pack Rat's kind of annoying. I can move forward accordingly.
Yeah, there is an argument there to try to shuck and jive a little bit, squeeze some cards out of Michael's hand, and then Detention Sphere after the fact. But the risk of the Detention Sphere getting Thoughtseize is simply too high, and Nicholas decides to err on the side of caution and just get the Pack Rat out of play while he has an opportunity to do so.
So Pack Rat's gone. Obviously, Frostmourne Weird cannot attack very well because his Mutavaults are 2/2, so Frostmourne Weird's a lowly 1/4. Braverman. Tapping 2, this is a Rogue Existence. Braverman wants his Pack Rat back. Maybe feeling a little bit of weakness here from Werner, where his turn is just Detention Sphere that and pass the turn back. So
Revoke Existence already fairly good against Blue Devotion lists, as you see Thassa, Biden and Thassa, occasionally some other stray enchantments and artifacts, but and against a deck that's also playing Detention Sphere at Afara, it becomes even better.
Island drawn here for Nicholas. Not a really great hand for him. He's just going to play an Island. 2 cards over there. Not quite sure what they are here for the Blue-White Devotion player. He's clearly got a spell to cast. Which one will it be? It will be a Bident of Thassa. There's a Cloudfin Raptor, so that's not so bad. Pack Rat activation here from Braverman. Going to discard Obsidian. Does not need that. Pretty, not terribly far away from casting it, but decides he would much rather have a Pack Rat instead.
Yeah, I think the tiebreaker here is just 2 Mutavaults are in play. The Pack Rats have too high of an upside. Also, Nicholas has no cards in hand, so there's a very good chance that Michael can simply win the game quickly behind these Pack Rats.
But for Nicholas' side, all it takes is one creature to evolve that Cloudfin Raptor. You get into point of damage in the air, you draw a card with the Bident, maybe you draw a Master of Waves, and then this game's looking very, very different here. So even though Braverman looks to be in a really good position, he's not in the driver's seat just yet.
No, certainly there are a lot of very scary draws for Michael out of Nicholas's deck right now. And the way that the game is shaping up, now that there's a Biden in play, Nicholas has some Mutavaults of his own. If Nicholas is able to find a Detention Sphere, Michael may be in huge trouble.
It's time for an attack for Michael Braverman. He looks like he's going to send in with his 2/2 Pack Rats with the ability to get a little bit bigger with a Pack Rat activation or a Mutavault activation.
And I'm a big fan of this attack by Michael here. He cannot sit on his hands all day long with the threat of Detention Sphere looming out of Nicholas's deck. He's got to try to get the game over as fast as he can.
Well, it's a good thing Pack Rat's really good at doing that, as you're going to see. An attack here for now 6, and will those Mutavaults go active? And it doesn't look like they will, but Braverman might be considering some things of just how much damage he wants to deal, because if he activates both Mutavaults, that's an attack for 10.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, we're looking at lethal attack the next turn.
The tension is that Nicholas has his Mutavaults on D as well, and every card that Nicholas gets to draw off the Biden is a huge risk because that could be Detention Sphere, and it's not clear that Michael has an effective enough secondary plan. He just has Desecration Demon in hand. Nicholas with a Biden and 2 Mutavaults has a lot of tools to keep that Desecration Demon pinned down, so he is on pack rat or bust right now.
Werner going to draw his card for the turn. Again, he was empty-handed. Now he's trying to figure out exactly what he can do as far as getting points of damage across. Did he peel Detention Sphere? It's a Night Veil Spectre.
I don't think you'd have seen a moment's hesitation. Night Veil Spectre is still a pretty reasonable draw here, as it evolves the Cloud from Raptor. It allows Nicholas to still stay back on defense to survive the attack the following turn, giving him at least 1 or 2 more cracks at finding Detention Sphere.
There's a draw from the Biden. Looks like Werner drew a land. He's going to play an island just past the turn back. That island, of course, can pump up a Frostburn Weird if necessary. Can also activate the Biden and force Braverman to attack, but I don't think he needs any help doing that.
Yeah, the biggest thing here is that it gives him another 2/3 to potentially block Mutavaults if he's feeling so inclined. But also, if he's going to be drawing cards next turn off a Biden, he wants to be able to, say, draw a land and spells to cast. So not a lot of upside to leaving it in his hand, and there's some situations where having the additional mana in play could matter.
And Braverman will untap. He will take a draw. 2 cards here for the black-white mid-range player. See if he can figure out a way to get this game over with any faster, or at least decimate Werner's board position. I think that's the key this turn, is that you really just want to slice and dice his board up really, really badly so that the following turn for Werner is just not a good one.
Well, the problem is that, you know, if you make a really aggressive attack and Werner is able to block in such a way where he survives and keeps some of his creatures in play, you are increasing the power of Biden on the way back and giving Nicholas more shots to find Detention Sphere. So even though Michael wants to try to win this game this turn, he also needs to be concerned about leaving enough blockers back on his end to minimize the number of cards that Nicholas can find off the Biden the following turn.
Braverman looks like he's got a land to play. Not sure which one. It's going to be a Godless Shrine. He's going to go down to 12. Feels like his life total is high enough that he can afford to do this.
Yeah, this gives him enough mana to make a rat, animate a Mutavault to block, and also have a mana left over to activate Mutavault inside of combat if he's feeling so inclined to pump his rats even further.
Yeah.
And that, you know, Michael knows at this point his life total doesn't really matter very much right now. If Nicholas draws Detention Sphere, that's almost certainly game over. Doesn't matter if he's at 12 or 14.
Yeah, he's all in here on the pack rat strategy. We're just going to activate a Mutavault. Looks like it's time to get to blocking. And of course, Braverman does just have 1 card in his hand, so he'll be at the ready to discard for a pack rat. You see a Night Veil Spectre get in front of the Mutavault, a Mutavault get in front of a pack rat. It looks like we're going to have Frostburn Weird to get in front of another copy of pack rat. Again, those are 4/4 pack rats that are about to become 5/5s due to a discard with the potential for them to be 6/6s.
This is a really good block by Nicholas. He's going to be able to keep his Night Veil Spectre, of course, his Cloudfin Raptor, and he actually has enough mana left over where he can animate Mutavault next turn and attack and have enough mana to cast a Detention Sphere if he's able to draw one.
Yeah. Braverman deciding if he wants to discard or not for pack rat.
Yeah, I mean, he may want to leave the Desecration Demon back in his hand as an insurance policy against Nicholas finding Detention Sphere next turn. He also has to concern himself with there's 5 mana in play. So I guess Cyclonic Rift isn't on the table right now because the Mutavault's about to die, but Michael just trying to figure out if it makes any sort of difference to playing it or not. Because I don't think that Demon's going to be enough on the way back if something happens to his pack rats next turn.
I do agree. So if he activates the pack rat, he'll get another rat, of course. The Mutavault on his side is still going to die. The pack rats will take down the Mutavault and Frostburn Weird on Werner's side, and some damage, of course, will get through with the 1 unblocked pack rat. And it looks like he does not have any interest in this happening. So Mutavault's going to bite the dust. Again, these are 3/3 pack rats. The original pack rat currently has 2 damage on it from Mutavault. The other one does have 1 damage on it, so those will not die at this point.
I'm somewhat uncertain about what the upside was of sending in Mutavault into that attack.
I agree. It feels like a situation where he may have overthought himself a little bit, thinking that that may actually have an effect here, because he essentially threw away Mutavault, and by doing that, he actually throws away 1, the ability to block with the other Mutavault, and 2, the ability to pump the pack rats.
Yeah. Because that's basically a free block for Nicholas that turn. He's not going to throw everything away because he still needs to leave himself enough resources to use Biden next turn.
Werner draws his card. He's going to sacrifice his Cloud from Raptor. He's going to get in for a bunch of damage here. 2 triggers. Hit 1, hit 2. Nightfall Spectre is going to give a Hero's Downfall. That's nothing. Those are a couple of lands, and that's going to do it. Michael Braverman is going to win this match over Nicholas Werner. 2-1. Black-White mid-range going to get the job done over Blue-White Devotion, and that means that Michael Braverman probably definitely a top 16 finish because he was in 16th place coming into this round, so not too shabby.
Yeah, congratulations to him. We've had him on camera several times this weekend, or during the standard portion at least, and pretty skillfully navigating his Black-White mid-range deck.
Yeah, a deck that's very, very popular this particular weekend. He can take a deep sigh of relief because his tournament, even though not in the top 8, it's all done, and it's an impressive weekend, walking away with a decent amount of money, some Open Series points, and making the top 16 of Invitational here. That's no joke. That's a good finish.
Yeah, very good finish. And congratulations to Ken Kenner as well, even though I know he's probably quite disappointed with the way that his tournament's ended. He's really positioned himself for a great run at